Hey, what's up guys? UrAvgWarGamer is back with another video for Warships. And today, I'm going to be taking a look at 5 best cool ships that you can pick for yourself right now. I'm sure there are a lot of cool ships below tier 9, tier 8, tier 7, there are even tier 10 cool ships out there. Yes, there are a lot of them and you want to just concise your options and want to just pick some of the best cool ships, and that's why I'm making this video. And I will be talking about only tier 9 ships. Only tier 9 ships, so that you will have easier chance to just select those which does help you a lot to win games and have a best game impact. At least in my opinion, I am kind of rating them, except for one ship that you are seeing right now in front of your screen. At this moment, other ships are going to be more specific for better game impact and better performance than many other ships that are available in Coal. This is sort of a disclaimer because I really love the niche that Jager has, which I will be explaining if you want to know that. So I hope you guys will understand, and if you do like this video, please like, share, and even subscribe. And subscription would be helping me a lot. A lot of you guys did not have subscribed. But, I mean, you watched the video, but I mean, why you are not subscribing? That's weird. But you can do that right now, and you can help me a lot. And thank you guys if you do. So let's talk about our number 5th pick, which is the exceptional case, not the game impacting ship, not the like really special, powerful, gun performance and everything that you want to have on a destroyer. This is Jager. If you don't know about the Jager is basically specifically focused with having fast, insanely fast torpedoes. Like, this is a pan-European destroyer, and pan-European destroyers have a flavor that just gives them insane speed but low damage. But in the case of Jager, you have like extremely low damage. You have less damage than even tier 10 destroyer Holland, which has 10.7k damage on these torpedoes. Jager has 7.5k torpedo damage. But at least what it gets from Holland is the torpedo speed. It has 95 knots of speed. Yes, that's right. 95 knots of speed if you build it with the help of captain skills and the upgrades. Like, if you do that, like I have used the torpedo speed and the torpedo speed from the captain skills, if you're able to do that, you will have 95 knots of speed. And also the unique thing about Jager, that it has torpedo reload time almost a minute. I mean, I haven't fully built it with torpedo tubes reload time, but you can do it and you can get it down to 65 seconds. 12-kilometer torpedoes, 95 knots of torps. You just be able to spam almost every minute 12 of these torpedoes, because you have 12 torpedoes that you can just send every minute on a target with these like blistering fast, almost laser fast in this game, at least 95 knots of torpedoes. So they are pretty funny when you are going to be landing a lot of torpedoes on battleship, because they have really good impressive reaction time of 7.1 seconds. So it's going to be very difficult for even cruisers to dodge if they don't have hydro. And even if they have hydro, you still have like very fast torpedoes. So if there's a battleship, like for example the Groningen, the German battleships, any tier 10 battleships out there, they are like bulky, difficult to turn, and there's someone that has hydro, they're still going to be able to having a difficult time to dodge these torpedoes because they are that fast. So it's fun, at least in that aspect. Also, like, this is the star of the show for Jager. This is something that if you want in a destroyer at tier 9, and if you have a very good feeling that you are a good torpedo boat destroyer player, I think then you can play Jager. Not for the game impact, because man oh man, these guns on the Jager are basically tier 2 or tier 3 in terms of damage performance. Like, look at the HE shells. You have higher caliber guns, weirdly enough. You have like 11% fire chance, which is also sometimes good. I mean, if you want to set fire on a battleship, and that's why they have given it a heal, which kind of makes it a bit different compared to many other destroyers. Usually, destroyers does not get heal. You have the speed boost, normal one, but this is what Jager can do, that can basically set fire on a battleship with this 9.5 kilometer pitfall range. And you just spam torpedoes, get tons of floods. Every minute you're just landing them, and every minute you will just gonna be landing them again if you find an isolated target. Obviously, another thing that can help Jager perform this thing is also the concealment. The 5.4 kilometer concealment is amazing. It's actually the best concealment number that you can find on a destroyer. Maybe I might be wrong. I don't remember a single destroyer that has better than 5.4 kilometer concealment. So that is a big number, and I would say a biggest threshold in this game. Unless Wargaming come up with some destroyer that has 5 kilometer concealment, we don't know yet. Wargaming can do anything like at any time, but at the moment, it is very impressive. So concealment, it's like better than many Japanese destroyers. Like, yes, it's actually sometimes equal to those of Japanese destroyers, like Kagero class destroyer, the Minigumo at tier 9, that also has really impressive, like Jager, 5.4 kilometer concealment. The speed is amazing because it's basically having 39 knots without speed boost, and with the speed boost and with the captain skill, which I would highly recommend, because you're going to be losing main battery load time as a permanent effect with the help of Swift in Silence, but your ship speed is improved drastically. So you can have like 44, 45 knots of speed. I don't know, I just exactly don't remember that number. But yeah, that will help Jaeger a lot in just repositioning and just farming battleships and even sending out torpedoes on destroyers that if you want to build it with RPF. So RPF, I usually don't use it because I'm able to still land a lot of torpedoes when I know that that destroyer is in that area. So you can use radio location if you want to, but this is a bit of a non-conventional build, I must say. It's not exactly the recommended build for Jaeger, but you can do that because I want to use this Swift in Silence. So if you build it for torpedoes, insanely good destroyer. Damage is pretty bad, I would say. Carrier levels of torpedo damage, but man, it's a lot of fun. I must say, not the best, I would say pretty average or below average game impact, but when you hit those torpedoes, and when you hit like a lot of torpedoes with like insane accuracy because they are that fast, you're just going to be having a lot of fun. So at number 5, exceptional case, Jaeger is a good ship for exactly fun factor. Okay, so at number 4, I would say this tier 9 battleship Marco Polo. This is an Italian battleship that has semi-armor piercing shells and they hit absolutely hard. Like, I will talk about that. But man, I would say this is a good battleship, especially after the recent buffs. They have buffed the Sigma parameter from 1.8 to 1.9, and they have, if I'm not wrong, I just exactly don't remember still that parameters, but I think I am right. And then also, they have improved the reload time such that now it's getting almost 30 seconds of reload time with the reload mod. So that is a good, nice change and started to make me feel that I should recommend the Marco Polo. Now, why is that battleship good? I mean, it's going to be having a game impact, that's for sure. For battleship realm and for that level of battleship, whatever battleship can do, I think this is a good battleship for game impact. Certainly a lot much higher game impact if you want to just blap battleships. Like you have semi-armor piercing shells and you have 406mm guns. They have better caliber than tier 10 Cristoforo Colombo, so that's a bit of an edge that you have right there. And they do hit hard, like 14.100k sap damage. They hit actually harder than AP shells, which is kind of the nice thing about the Marco Polo. And man, you have really good pen angles. Like if you shoot the battleship like onto the upper belt, you're just most likely gonna be just smashing it for like 15k easy. 15k is definitely possible if you are getting a lot of good shell grouping, tight shell grouping with the Marco Polo, which is also obviously possible with 1.9 Sigma and with the dispersion that it usually gets. Sometimes it can be wonky, but most of the time Marco Polo does have very good shell velocity, like the shell velocity, the shell flight time for these sap shells are also very impressive. So they're just going to be easy landing onto that battleships, and you can also blap cruisers, like especially the light cruisers, like the semi-armor piercing are kind of having better armor penetration capacity. They basically kind of works like AG shells, but in a different way. Like you have improved penetration angles, but then you have like no fire chance, but having like slightly better armor penetration capacity, but lesser armor penetration capacity with AP. Like it's a bit of a complicated mechanic, but once you understand it, if you are a newer player, you can understand that this is pretty special ammunition for Italians. So you can blap light cruisers without a doubt. I mean, you don't need to change the ammunition. A lot of cruisers that has like 102mm plating, citadel plating and less will just gonna take more citadel damage than the armor piercing shells. And I mean, you will be simply penning them. You're not gonna get over pens because the sap will just simply citadel you, regardless of how much, the penetration might be too much for that light cruiser. That's not gonna happen with the sap. The sap will just simply pen you like crazy. And that's the thing that I really like about Marco Polo. You have 9 guns, they hit hard. The HP pool is also like okay. I'm not gonna say it's really special. Only respectable. The torpedo protection is also respectable for a battleship. Could be better, but these are the parameters that are basically average. But the good thing is for the Marco Polo is these guns and the speed. The speed is 33.6 knots with the Luigi Cincinnati. You can proc many of the good perks, like for example, if you get the Confederate main battery load time buff, that's really good. If you get the, for example, the concealed reserves, you will. This is not going to happen. You need like cruiser or destroyer to get 100 shell hits. So, but with the first kill that you can do on Marco Polo, because the limiting factor of this battleship is the range. That the range is only 19 kilometer, and you can only help yourself improving this range with the help of the spotter plane, which that's why you are seeing the spotting aircraft mod 1. And that's increasing it up to 130 seconds, which is sometimes lacking, because once you have the spotter plane down, your range gets back to 19 from 22 to something. So that's where Luigi Cincinnati comes in. If you have this special captain, highly recommend Marco Polo. Like especially if you get this captain, this is gonna make it even better battleship, because you will get Confederate and you will just do a lot better overall because of the damage, performance, and every single other aspect, like improved range, right? Because with the first kill you will get improved range. So Marco Polo is really good. Its armor profile is also very nice. The Italians does have really good armor. You can see 55mm thickness. That's gonna shatter even 305mm cruiser caliber shells. That usually Germans don't get it. A lot of the Russians do have it, 60mm deck armor, so it's kind of very close to that. So a lot of cruisers will definitely shatter upon hitting this deck armor. Like even the heaviest cruisers, like 305mm caliber gun cruisers, they will also gonna get a lot of shatters if they hit there, and even if they hit there. So it's very resistant in tanking or taking itchy shell hits, which is a nice thing. Obviously they can set fires, that's the thing. You do have a superstructure there, so it's not like it's immune. But even then, the armor profile overall is pretty good and solid. You do have a citadel. It's a vulnerable citadel, so you be sure that you just stay angled. Like, look at this. This citadel is definitely above waterline. You can clearly see here. So, broadside, you're going to be getting punished. You're not going to be immune to getting citadel, but it's going to be still extremely powerful. The firing angles are pretty okay. I don't exactly remember, but they are actually good. So, like, good enough. I have to maybe check that, but yeah, it's overall a really good battleship with really good guns, especially after the buffs. So definitely, concealment is good, 13.2 kilometer. It is definitely at number 4, I would say worth it. Okay, so at number 3, I liked Agir a lot. Obviously, there are some other cruisers like Azuma, there's some other cruiser like Tulsa, but compared to them, I still would prefer Agir. Now, why Agir over those coal cruisers? I think the best reason is going to be the armor. The armor for this German O-class cruiser is actually relatively tanky. Now, as you can see, it has 90mm thickness, which means that it can shatter a lot of cruiser HE shells, like if they hit. Obviously, it does have a weakness, like if you broadside, you're going to be taking massive damage. The battleship AP will just simply pen. They will not going to do overpens. But even then, if you're able to play it angled, especially with the 30mm deck armor at tier 9, I mean, sure, if you get into the tier 10 matchmaking, you are still going to be resistant against 406mm caliber and lower, and 430 or 457mm caliber guns can overmatch you from the deck and from the bow, obviously, but even then, it is relatively tanky. Like, for example, if I take a look at the Azuma has really bad armor. Like, if I can show you quickly. So this is the Azuma. Yes, Azuma guns might be good, but they are also having the same heavy cruiser guns like that of Agir, with its special flavor like improved HE shells and fire chance or something like that. But man, the armor is definitely weak. As you can see here, 25mm bow compared to the Agir's 27mm, and your deck and side armor is only 27mm. Which means that you're going to be even overmatched by 406mm caliber guns, which basically having almost all the tier 9 battleships have this caliber guns and above. So there are some exceptions, however, but still Azuma cannot tank. And I think if you are in the initial stages of this game, where you do have like less amount of coal ship, you're going to be having a lot much more suffering taking even angled a lot of damage. Whereas Agir, if you are angled compared to Azuma, you're going to be taking less damage overall. Obviously, the superstructure is there. The Azuma also have superstructure, but man, overmatch is definitely going to hurt a lot. But Agir can tank quite well. 380mm caliber guns, you can just fully tank them, bow in, no problems. The Alsace, for example, the Richelieu at tier 9, the Alsace, these French caliber 380mm guns, or maybe something else that I don't exactly remember. The ships that have 380 caliber guns, 380mm caliber guns, they're just not going to be overmatching you. And that's why this is a huge advantage for Agir. And then this bow, the side armor and the deck armor is also resistant to the 406mm caliber guns overmatch. Also, you're going to be having a German flavor, except the Ichi shells are not that impressive. In fact, they are pretty bad compared to Azuma. Like, compared to Azuma, overall, they are still good with exactly same fire chance. And the AP penetration is still pretty nasty good. Like, you're just going to be citadeling cruisers, no problem at ranges. And I mean, that's the flavor that you're going to be getting. The German flavor, which is Agir, and the Japanese flavor, which is Azuma. So Azuma, with the survivability, has a bit of a downside. Obviously, it has some couple of things that helps a lot. Like, for example, the improved reload of the repair party, like only 40 seconds of cooldown time. Yes, that's the biggest thing, but you will be taking a lot of damage overall than compared to Agir. And that's the reason why I rate the Agir more. And even if I take a look at the Tulsa, this is another cruiser. This is the American cruiser that you can get it for gold. And it's also recently gotten buffed. And it does have a radar, which I would highly recommend you if you want to win games. You want to counter destroyers, radar is the way to go. But the thing about the Tulsa is it's also having the same problem. The armor is 27mm. Yes, it can be resistant against 380mm caliber guns and lower. But man, the 406 caliber guns, they're still gonna be overmatching you. And the ship is not easy to play. You have to use islands as cover. And if you want to get that same experience, there is a Des Moines, which is at tier 10, and that is a lot better cruiser. You can just take some experience from playing Des Moines, that heavy cruiser, and then you can just buy out the Tulsa later on. Meanwhile, you can just invest some coal on the Agir and get the feel of these German guns. And also, what makes it special compared to Azuma, that it also have access to torpedoes, and your concealment is also as good as Azuma, if I'm not wrong. Let me just compare it so I can give you the perspective. I haven't built it for concealment, but I think it can go as good as Azuma. Both have really good concealment. So Agir does not have that much difference in terms of concealment. The maneuverability, maybe there might be some differences, but again, these are heavy cruiser numbers that you are getting. The speed is still good, however. The anti-defense is also pretty good, especially actually good compared to Azuma. And I sometimes rate anti-defense also important factor when I just choose a ship, because it does have some anti-defense if like compared to Azuma, and you can somewhat able to shoot down tier 8 planes. Azuma just even struggle to even shoot down tier 8 planes. For me, that's also like very important thing, because yeah, you're getting focused by CV a lot, and you're not even shooting down like planes at all. For me, that's gonna be sour, taste in my mouth. So this is something that I would definitely say. However, Azuma does have better firing range, I must say. It does have a spotter plane, that's why it gets improved firing range. But Agir still has respectable 18.5 kilometer. Your guns are good. You have battle cruiser dispersion. You have 2.05 Sigma. So the guns are as reliable as Azuma. The dispersion is as reliable as Azuma. So there's nothing wrong, except you're getting a German flavor at tier 9. And that's why I would highly recommend this ship, that if you are just starting the game and if you want to get one of that heavy cruiser, and having also a decent game impact, because you just do a lot of damage to broadside cruiser and battleship, you can just do pretty decent damage. The guns hurt pretty nice. Alpha damage AP is better than Azuma. The Ichi shells can be sometimes anemic, but they are not too bad. They will still set fires regardless. They have 27% fire chance. So you can have a good package, very good reload time as well, 17.6 seconds. And I would say it's a good overall cruiser at number 3, at least in the coal perspective, at tier 9. Alright, so at number 2, I would highly recommend this battleship, Kearsarge. Now this battleship is not for everyone. Not everyone at the start of the game, if you are looking to get a tier 9 battleship, a really good battleship, will be getting affiliated with how to use your planes, because it has a very unique gimmick, which is the aircraft and actually very, very powerful aircraft at tier 9. Actually, I would rate these aircraft to be basically tier 10. They just do so much damage. I mean, you can just, I mean, it has 80 rockets. They do a lot of damage, and you have 15 rockets. And if you hit a battleship full broadside, and if you're able to land a lot of rockets, you're just going to be doing 20k damage. But they are very difficult to aim at the start of the game. This whole battleship concept is not easy. The guns, they have North Carolina guns. These, however, are 12 guns, which might make it interesting. The accuracy is 1.9 sigma. It's pretty good. The dispersion that you can get with the dispersion mod at 6 slot, it makes it pretty good overall. But the shell velocity is basically having of that of North Carolina. In fact, these are North Carolina guns that you find at tier 8, which is a one step down in terms of the shell velocity, the shell light time. The penetration maybe like slightly bit of the difference, but it's not a whole lot because both are compared to Iowa, and the North Carolina has like very little to no difference in penetration. I might need to check the numbers, but yeah. But the shell velocity, the shell arcs, they are very, very oval sort of. Like they take a lot of time to get to the target, so it's gonna be difficult aiming these shells for a especially newer player. But I mean, if you're able to land shells with this battleship, then your aim is gonna be getting hugely better. For sure, like hugely better. And moreover, you might able to also understand the basics of playing aircraft carrier. But I mean, if you're able to master these both things, Kearsarge is overpowered. Period. If you know what you're doing. If you know that it has armor that is vulnerable at medium to close range, if you don't play it as a medium to close range like you find on Germans, or maybe something like a brawler, which Kearsarge is not designed to, because its armor is very, very odd. It has like a tumor that is built on top of the middle of this superstructure. Like, look at this. You have the deck armor that is basically the carriers where they're just going to be launching the planes from, and then you have this area, as you can see, this plating, which is extremely vulnerable. The destroyers will able to simply pen you. The battleships will overmatch you. Your armor, your armor on the other side is just impressive. Like 38 millimeter, that's going to be pretty good and resistant to tank a lot of battleship shells. But this is the biggest weakness. And if you just don't mitigate it, as a newer player, you're going to be having a rough experience. So, again, this is a big, big if. Big, big if. Again, I'm saying this. If you know how to play carriers, this might be a bit more interesting and enticing, because the planes are literally tier 10 planes, and they just do 20k damage on the onto the broadside of battleship or even cruisers. And sometimes, if you are super Unicum CV player maybe, then you can just even rockets on the destroyers. But I mean, that's not how it's designed for. But you can spot the ships for yourself. Biggest reason that's why Kearsarge is powerful, that you have this insane spotting as of right now. Unless they have come up with the CV rework changes, it's still not going to do much of a difference. Like, you're still going to be having the spotting potential, unlike the other carriers that definitely going to get a nerf. The Kearsarge with this hybrid ability and launching planes will still going to be a lot better compared to the CV. At least that's what I'm seeing in the CV rework or the upcoming CV rework. And we don't know when that's going to happen. Maybe it's going to happen in 6 months, in a year. I believe so. That's going to be taking at least a year that we might see that on live servers, because it's not fully mature at all yet. So a lot of time. And you can just invest that coal if you know what you're doing. Your HP pool is impressive. 88,000. That's like top 3 or top 4 battleships in terms of HP. Like, it's very, very good. Like, very impressive. But I mean, obviously, this is gonna go pretty down if you are just taking a lot of damage. Like, you can just take 20k volleys if you broadside, because it does still have a citadel. Usually, it's not easy to citadel the Kearsarge, but you're still gonna be citadel. If I can show you the armor, as you can see, it's basically waterline. So you gotta be careful if you broadside, and you still have to be angled, and at the same time try not to show this tumor and try not to be close. And then your guns will just shine. Your guns are good. Your fire chance is good with the HE shells. I'd highly recommend you to basically use the shells, the HE shells first, set a fire, and then you just use rocket planes at long ranges, and you just set permanent fires. I mean, the rockets and with the HE shells, if you use it, onto the angled battleships, you're just going to be farming so much damage. You're going to be spotting destroyers and cruiser with your planes along the way. So the game impact can significantly go higher the more you are experienced playing this game. So, but still, I have to say, at number 2, it's very powerful, but it's not for everyone. So that's why this is a bit of a disclaimer that I find it to be good. Personally, find it to be that good that it is better than Marco Polo for sure. At number 2, if you know what you're doing. Okay, so at number 1, well, there is another destroyer that is very, very good. But the only reason that I have taken it out of the way, like if I just directly compare it with Groningen, is that it is very, very expensive for coal. The Nistoshimi that I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, you can also get Nistoshimi, and there's another destroyer, Black, that you can get for coal, like this one. These are both ships available, but these are gonna be costing you 296,000 coal. That's very, very expensive coal ship, right? That's gonna be a lot of coal that you have to spend on a single destroyer. So I have decided that I'm just gonna leave them because they are expensive for coal, and decided to come up with this option, which I would say is as good as those DDs in a different way, in a very different way, which is Groningen. Now this is the Dutch destroyer that has absolutely absurd DPM. Like, your DPM numbers are 280,000. These are these are the numbers that you're gonna be getting on tier 10 destroyers, on a very, very good gunboat tier 10 destroyers, and you're getting this on Groningen because that's the speciality of it. You have 4 guns, which might makes weird sense, like only 4 guns. How it's getting a lot of DPM? It's because of that impressive reload time at 1.5 seconds, and that's why you're getting absurd AP DPM, amazing HE DPM, and you're just getting this combo. We're just gonna be setting fires upon fires, and I like, sorry, if I just also explain you one more thing, and that's what makes it really special, this Groningen, is that it has access to American smokes. Yes, the American smokes, which are basically very long lasting. The action time is also pretty impressive. It has it on Groningen. So you're just basically able to smoke yourself up. If there is someone that is spotting for you in, like, if there's a division mate, for example, if he's playing CB, for example, or if he's playing something like other destroyer, or there's something that is spotting the enemy ships, you can just smoke up and you just farm with this absurd DPM. And you will just find out that you will just rack so much damage upon damage that it's kind of cracked at tier 9 in that regard. I mean, and because of that DPM, you're just going to be eating destroyers, like literally eating destroyers alive if they caught in the situation where you just be able to spot them. Sure, that's the balancing factor that I would say. Like, your guns absolutely eat destroyers and eat battleships by setting fires upon fires, and that's why it does have 2 weaknesses. It has one biggest weakness, which is like concealment. It has like 6.4 kilometer concealment with full build, which I have not, because I have opt in for like full like crazy gunboat style. As you can see here, like this is Oonga Boonga build, like literally taking out the concealment expert, and I'm using the main battery and A specialist, and I'm using the improved demolition expert from this captain that you can, I think you can get it for coal in the armory. You have to check that out. This is not a unique captain. This is a seasoned commander that you can get like for 35,000 gold. You just check it, and if you can apply this on Groningen, you can have a fire chance, which is absolutely ridiculous. 10.5% on these guns that have 1.5 seconds of reload. Like, you're just basically a machine gun, literally a Gatling gun that's just gonna throw shells upon shells, and the shell velocity is decent enough that if you smoke up, you farm, and you can just do that, and you can just kill destroyers. And you have the hydro, which I haven't even talked about. You have a defensive wave fire, which can counter carriers. Actually can counter carriers. Like, you might say, like, is there any destroyer that can really fend off the CV attacks? I think Groningen is really one of that destroyer that can do that. To some extent, even though it's actually at tier 9, one of the best destroyers. It's actually one of the best destroyers in doing this. Like, with the defensive wave fire and with this overall entire defense numbers, you can just do this, but still sometimes can CV screw you up. But it's going to be difficult. The CV is going to losing more planes, for sure, if you pop up defensive wave fire. and then you can smoke yourself up, and you have the hydro, which is 5 kilometers. So you can just rush in towards those destroyers that are basically going to get caught off guard if they don't know that you have hydro, and you're just going to be smashing them, and you're just going to be killing them, bro. It's so good. It's extremely powerful, absolutely worth it. I would say in tier 9 destroyers, it does have a highest game impact. Maybe the black and Nutsushimi comes very close. As you can see, I have talked about the Nutsushimi. They are expensive. And maybe I will talk about them in the honorable mentions because they are also deserve to talk about. So Groningen, you cannot go with this. Your AP also like having slightly better DPM. So if they are broadside, any battleship is broadside, you can just pen on their upper belt and you can just do a lot of damage, like more damage than HE. But the HE will set fires, like tons of fires, like 10.5% chance, bro. I don't see with this DPM any other destroyer can have even come close to this. The 10.5% chance with this insanely good reload time. Like, boy, it's really nice. You can even counter submarines because of the hydro. So you have a counter against even cruisers if you smoke up. You can farm battleship if you smoke up. You can farm destroyers because of your absurd DPM. You do have decent HP at 21.8k. So you basically is very good in many things, while having the only couple of downside, which is the speed boost, which is the concealment, which is 6.4. It's not too bad still, but it is definitely worse. And that's basically it. So I hope that you can, at number 1, buy this ship. I think you will be loving this ship if you know what you're doing. Obviously, the skill definitely comes into play if you want to make a really good game impact on randoms as well as ranked. In randoms and ranked, both are like, for the Groningen, pretty viable option. Like, Groningen is going to shine in both of these scenarios, in the randoms as well as in ranked. So, at number 1, Groningen, 100%. Okay, so just for giving you some idea about these coal ships, if you don't know, like the black and Nutsushimi, they are the most expensive coal ships, but I won't say that they are worth it over Groningen, especially at least in the coal department. I would still say that if you have accumulated some of these ships that I have mentioned, and if you have played them, if you have coal enough, if you have some coal, and if you are thinking of getting extra destroyers like Nutsushimi and black, they are pretty good options. I'm not gonna lie, the black is unique. The Nutsushimi is also unique. Like if you really ask me. Now, just gonna be giving you a brief summary. Nutsushimi has super heals, which you don't find on like. It's very uncommon. I would say a rare trait to have a super heal on a destroyer, and Nutsushimi has it. You have the engine boost, like this. You have the defensive A fire, even though the A numbers are not impressive, like the base numbers are not good, so it's not gonna be like Groningen. You have the smoke, and then you have like, average gun DPM numbers, and then average torpedo reload time. But it's kind of like a jack of all trades. It basically can do everything like Groningen, but except on the lower levels, except that compared to Groningen, it does not